Good morning, Abbey and BessMorgan.
Hi, good morning.
It's an honor to have y'all on. Two of the finest people in all the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
That's how y'all present it to me. Are y'all not?
Abby.
If you say so.
Okay, good. What brought y'all to your positions in the Chamber of Commerce?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I had been working at this place called Container Yard, downtown Mobile.
Oh, with Miss Stacy Wellborn.
Yeah, so one of our professors from Spring Hill, she had hired me out of college to manage her space. And she actually saw the job listing on LinkedIn. And one day she pulled me into her office and she was like, close the door. I was like, oh my God.
Spooky.
What's going on? And she was like, I saw this job listing and it is you to a T. You need to apply for this job. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, I'm so sad to lose you. And I'm like, I haven't even applied yet. Like,
She knew you were going to get it.
And so that's basically how I ended up there. I interviewed for it.
And this was roughly like 2 years ago.
It was in March of 2023.
March 2023.
So about a year and a half ago. But
It's never been the same since. So we're on the same floor now. So
oh yeah, our offices are like catty corner.
kind of like diagonal.
Did you plan it that way?
I mean, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
So you're with marketing at the
So
Chamber?
I work it's kind of two departments in one. I work in the communications and government affairs department, but I work on the communication side.
Cool. Okay.
And I'm in the
Miss Abbey?
economic development department.
Oh, yeah.
But I actually met my boss in Orlando. I was on vacation, but he was at a work conference. And I was talking to him, and he was telling me about Mobile. I'm originally from Opelika, Alabama, but I was living in Birmingham at the time, working for a law firm. And he was talking to me about the job he was creating at the Chamber. So workforce development had only been in economic development before, but he was kind of revamping it for talent attraction and workforce development. So how are we actively attracting people to move to the area, but also retaining and upskilling them here? And I was like, but Mobile, like, what? Like, I didn't grow up here.
More to Mobile.
Now there is that I've seen it. but I grew up going to the beach. Like, I never really knew Mobile as a place to live or be here. I went to college at Mississippi State, so I didn't.
Nice. Starkville?
Starkville, yeah. Stark Vegas.
Yeah.
Because it really is Stark Vegas. But I just never saw or knew Mobile could have been a place for a young professional like me, or it was never on my radar really until I met my boss, and he was talking about all the growth that was happening here and what this role could be. And I was like, well, yeah, Mobile needs some help though. I mean, where's the young professional scene? Where's, all the good things that are happening in the city? And I pretty much listed everything that he was putting in the job description for my position. And so he asked me to come down and interview. And that was, I think I met him in June of 21, and I moved in August of 21.
Nice.
So I moved August 15th, 2021, and I started the next day at the Chamber.
Right to work. We need you.
Yeah, I literally did. It's like, I'm just coming straight in. I lived with a friend I had met once for 3 weeks. She took me in. She's now my family here. I was her and her 14-year-old daughter at the time, and they took me in because my house wasn't ready for 3 weeks. And she was like, "You can come live with me." Really? Okay.
That's Southern hospitality.
But it's Mobile, like, and ever since I've been here, everybody's been so welcoming to just make you a friend or tell you about a place to go or stay with a friend you met one time. Like, everybody's just so welcoming that it's been really cool that it's been a little over 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt that as well. I came from Dallas to go to Spring Hill, and I'll meet Mobile locals doing things like, "Where are you from, boy?" I'm like, "What, Dallas?" Like, "You came here from Dallas?"
What are you doing here?
But then they'll always say, "We're glad to have you here, and you're welcome here, and this is your home." So
Yeah.
it's comforting to hear that.
Yeah.
What was the deciding factor for y'all to say yes to your jobs with the Chamber?
That's tough. So whenever I was working for Stacy, we had been discussing like what I wanted in a job out of Container Yard, because to kind of backtrack, whenever I was in college, so I was at Spring Hill from 2018 to 2022.
Ooh, alumni.
Yeah.
Woo, go Badgers. And right in the middle of my college experience, COVID-19 happened. And so whenever I was going into my junior year, that's whenever all the shutdowns and everything was going on. And in my head, I had all these plans that like, okay, junior year, I'm going to look for this kind of internship, and I want to go on this trip, and I want to do this. And then all of those things kind of got derailed because, you know, everybody was inside, or you could only do certain things.
Right.
And so what I really did, I did a lot of internships on campus and got very involved on campus, growing my skills that way.
I feel Spring Hill does a great job of the opportunities on campus to
Right.
get you in immersed. Like I had the one with the Division of Business Marketing, and
Yeah.
you know, those have been great for me. So
And that's where I gained a lot of my skill sets. But graduating, I was like, okay, my whole resume, while I have a lot of experience, it's all in one location. And so working for Stacy, I think I was with her for about 9 months. I was her only employee, and well, not her only employee, but like the only one at Container Yard. And so she was really able to help me hone my skills and
that
it
one-on-one
almost-
experience.
And so it kind of felt like an additional internship in a way. But while I still got, she has this business called Wellborn Strategies, and I was her content manager for that, and then her facility manager for Container Yard. So I was able to expand my resume a little bit. But also in those 9 months, I just got the feeling that it was, you know, time to move on. And I really wanted a job that was fast paced, where I could continue to learn. And so the chamber was just it's fast paced and I'm learning every day. So
Seems like it, y'all. And what you've done, and then when we're talking about what you have later today, full docket for sure.
It never ends. It's
Yeah.
always, that's what I love though. It's always something new every day. Like
yeah.
you work with all different types of people, you do different types of things. It's just, it's a fast paced environment for
It
sure.
is, but I love it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about young professionals. I hear the chambers put an emphasis on young people, keeping them here, getting them here. How are we going about that?
How are we doing that, right?
It's a complex question.
It's a crazy thing, isn't it? Well, actually, part of me moving here and taking the job was talking to my boss about, you know, where is that young professional scene? What are we doing to keep people here?
Right. And sorry to interrupt, but do
No,
other
good.
chambers have young professional divisions, and is that common?
Yeah, it's in most big cities, there's a young professional organization. It doesn't always live in the chamber. It might just be a standalone organization, but most big cities, and since we're in the top 4 largest cities of the state, we should have had one, honestly, before I moved here, but there was no overall young professional organization.
There would be like little pockets.
Yeah, and we have a few groups that are like professional development organizations, but there was no overarching young professional organization that anybody was welcome into. I mean, you want to fit the 21 to 40-year-old category, but you can be any type of industry. It's not just one specific. Like I know there's like a Young Lawyers Association. There's Connect Mobile, which is just a certain period of time that you apply
Like a
for a
6-month
program.
program.
Yeah. So it's like there was a few, you know, separate things, but there was no like umbrella of an organization that you could learn about the little ones in. And so we started the Young Professionals of Mobile, YP of MOB for short, in February of 2022. So that kind of was my first initiative that we pushed out when I started. Because the mayor, and I know he was on the podcast recently.
Mayor Stimson, the man.
Yeah, he used to make a joke about, you know, what's our greatest export to any student? What would you say?
People.
So he would say young talent, like, because most people would be like, is it gas or is it steel? Like, what is it? And would try to talk about the specific industry. And the mayor would say, our greatest export is our young talent. And talking about, like, a lot of people leave to go to a different university, or they think opportunities are elsewhere, but they're here in Mobile. And so he made a mission to make this organization a big deal. And so we launched YP of MOB with the city and Visit Mobile as a like citywide initiative to engage, connect, and empower our emerging group of talent in the Mobile region. And it was really cool to just have the launch party. We had 140 people at the launch party in February of 2022 at the steeple.
Was it 150 young people or 150 just chamber members? And
it was just young people.
Oh yeah,
And because I just launching it instead of it just being a chamber organization with the city and Visit Mobile, it showed that we were all a unified front, and this is something we're all wanting for the city, not just a chamber initiative. Even though it's stayed that way because we've seen the results from it, but we knew it was going to be a bigger reach if we had more partners on it. So, and the first goal was just to make sure people were connecting and hanging out, networking events. But after this first year in 2022, we were then kind of like, okay, well, let's start doing monthly lunch and learns and monthly socials so that there's professional development opportunities, but then also networking opportunities for students. So this past year, so in 2024, we launched as a membership because we saw we had over 1,200 people in the database that had been coming since 2022. And we're like...
What are the age ranges?
21 to 40.
Okay.
For the group. And we saw that this was a way to kind of not just capture them, but like make it a membership and say...
Structure.
This is an important initiative that I want to professionally develop myself and my company. I want to represent my company. And so we launched a membership this year. So it was $75 for the year. And that covered every lunch and learn and every social that you attended for the year.
How frequent are the lunch and learns?
Once a month.
And the socials?
Once a month. So
cool.
we try to stick to the first Wednesday of every month is the lunch and learn, and the second Thursday of every month is the social.
Gotcha.
But depending on holidays, like it might change a little bit.
Right,
But usually that's the schedule.
It stays pretty consistent.
Yeah. There's just a few months where like the 4th of July, like you don't want to have a lunch and learn on the 4th.
Gotcha.
Because nobody's here.
Yeah.
And so we did that this year. And we had a lot of different topics that people want to hear about.
Our first lunch and learn, whenever we were talking about launching it being a membership organization, we opened it up to the floor and we're like, hey, what do you want from us this year?
That's
so
awesome.
They threw out a lot of different topics that they wanted to learn about. And I think we covered most of them this year.
And a lot of people wanted to hear about the Civic Center, what was going on there. And so we had Chief Barber come talk to the young professionals. We had Fred Renfrey talk about just downtown development. We've had Sam Winter and Company do a home buying seminar. So first-time home buyers.
Yeah, they broke it down step by step, what you needed for buying your first home and everything.
Yeah, so we tried to just encompass what people said that first lunch and learn, and then what, as young professionals ourselves, what do we want to hear about? You know, what do we want to learn from leaders in the community? And so they've sold out almost every month. Like we had one yesterday that Alabama Power sponsored and spoke, and there was 45 people max that can fit in the room. And we
definitely
were in there. Yeah. It was sold out.
Good. I went to one, I think at the beginning of last year, and it was on banking and the types of credit, you know, good credit, bad credit. And it was great information, but the thing that surprised me most was I feel I know a lot of the young people in Mobile through Spring Hill and Summit South, but I only knew like 3 people in the room of 70.
And
so
you're like, wait.
Y'all pulled them from somewhere I didn't know.
And I feel like every month there's new people that come through our doors. There's a lot of familiar faces, but every once in a while I'll look around and I'll be like, wow.
Haven't never met you.
Yeah.
But it's fun to hear, because I'll try to ask every time. I'm like, how did you hear about the Young Professionals Mobile? Or, you know, they might say a friend brought me, or I just looked it up online. Like a girl who is now a member and already rejoined for next year, she told me that she moved from Tuscaloosa and was involved in a young professional group there. And first thing she did was Google young professional groups in Mobile, and we popped up, and she started coming to events, and
she's great.
She's great. So
Awesome.
It's just one of those things that, like, it's cool to learn how people hear about information, but, you know, the fact that she just Googled it herself and still comes every time she can.
That's initiative right there.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
How do you suggest students can go about finding jobs in the area?
You want me to do that one?
You can take it.
Okay. So part of another one of my talent attraction initiatives was to have a digital attraction website that showed all that Mobile had to offer. So that's where More to Mobile was created. The website's moretomobileal.com, but it talks about there's more to live, work, grow, and explore. And so on the work page, there is a job board site, and it's connected through LinkedIn, Monster, Indeed, and ZipRecruiter. And so any jobs that are posted for, say you're an accounting major and you're looking for accounting jobs, it'll show all the jobs that are in Mobile for that type of.
It pulls it all to one location.
Yeah. So that's a resource that anybody is able to use. But I will say that if a student gets an internship at any company in the area, I know that you'll have really great Dr. Larvier, like a great resource on campus, as she's the internship connector. That once you are in that internship for the summer, we host programming. We got a grant from Innovate Alabama and the Economic Development Partnership of Alabama to do, it was called Fuel Alabama. It'll probably be that again next year, Fuel Alabama Mobile. We were one of the, I think, 10 regions that got the programming. And so once you have your internship here for the summer, we want to show and sell the city, because the company you're working for, they're just trying to show you the job. But we want to make sure that, yes, you might be a Spring Hill student, but here are some fun activities to do in the summer while you're working here. And so we did like mixers with the young professionals in Mobile. We had a breakfast reception with leaders in the area.
Nice.
We did individual lunch and learns for the interns, where we had Ian Mohorn with Dale Carnegie come do a kind of communication in the workplace talk.
And an HR talk as well.
Like how to ask for what you want and how to learn the HR side of a business. And then we did we do I think we did another lunch.
Did we?
I don't know.
We always invited them to like the young professionals lunch and learns. And then also, I just always recommend to people that are seniors in college looking for a job, go out and network in the community that you're in. Even if you don't think that you want to stay in maybe your college community, it's always worth it to go out and make those connections.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was talking to my boss now, and she was talking about, we were just talking about hiring people and that kind of subject. And she said, yeah, I remember you were coming out of college, and then she named like 2 other people. And I was like, well, how did all of y'all like have me in mind? And they were like, oh, well, you would come to Public Relations Council of Alabama events. And so just they notice when students show up to things and that they're interested in getting involved in the industry around here.
And I feel even if you don't get anything from the connections you make, it's still that professional development, how to have a conversation while, holding a plate and a drink at the same time.
And you never know where those connections will lead you, because we met.
She came to a young professional social months before you even applied for the job.
I want to say it was me and one of my friends from Spring Hill. We had both stayed in Mobile, and Stacy was like, y'all need to go to this young professionals thing. Like, come on, go. And we were like, yeah, that sounds awesome, because y'all had just started it that year that we graduated. And so I want to say that we went to the one in September, and then I didn't start my job at the chamber until that March, but we had met each other, and I had no clue that I would end up working at the chamber one day, but
But then I knew her, and so when she was applying for the job, I'm like, yeah, she's awesome. And that was just a way
you
to
push the scale a little bit.
Well, but it's not just me, but it was a way I could speak to who she was instead of just a resume. She showed up and came to the event and was personable and would be great for the role. So it was just an easy connection point, you know.
It makes a big difference seeing a face, like putting a face to a name, and just seeing the way that they interact with people as well.
And to add to your question, another way students can find job opportunities is through an initiative that is called Showcase Mobile that we started for the first time this year in February, but it'll be March 23rd through the 25th, 2025. So mark your calendars, juniors and seniors, for this opportunity, because that's a way to get in front of employers in the area. It's a way to let the students see and expose them to the company itself. So they'll do tours and they'll tell them about the job, day-to-day things. They'll bring a young engineer or business student or business analyst to the students and have them say, this is what I do day to day. It's a way to connect with HR managers from other companies who might not do the tours but are still recruiting and hiring in the area. And it's a way to connect with other young professionals in the area because they'll bring them with their HR recruiting
It really
team.
is a great opportunity.
Because we've seen that if you expose students or people to what you have to offer, a lot of people are visual learners. I mean, we live in a phone world that it's like you see things. That's how you take your knowledge. Like that's how you get your information is through your phone. I mean, nobody's really reading the newspaper anymore, but it's like it's there. So if it's on your phone, you're reading the newspaper. But a lot of people are visual learners, and so we kind of came up with this concept of Showcase Mobile because we wanted to showcase Mobile and we wanted to show what we have to offer and let students see it in a new light of, we had this company in Mobile. I had no idea.
I grew up here and I didn't know how many industry sectors we had, let alone the businesses and the scope of businesses that we had here until I really started working for the chamber.
Yeah.
So in Showcase Mobile, I've heard about it. And the premise, is it like a kind of circulating, revolving, like a day in each job industry? Is that what is the concept?
Similar, but it's a 2-day career exploration.
2-day, okay.
This year it'll technically be 3 because Sunday will be the networking reception, and then Monday will be tours, and then Tuesday would be a breakfast send off with the mayor, hopefully. But Tuesday, that would be more of a exposure to the industry that they pick. So it'll be different types of pathways. And so it'll kind of encompass, if you're a business student, seeing the different types of businesses in the area. So this first year, we focused more on the industry sector. We did aerospace, healthcare, chemical manufacturing, metal manufacturing, and supply chain. But this next year, the goal is really more to focus on the student's major and what that type of job would look like in different types of businesses, if that makes sense. So it'd be... I
think that's super helpful, too.
Yeah, because it was more like aerospace. They went to ST Engineering, Continental Aerospace Technologies, and Airbus. So they saw 3 different aerospace companies, but this year we'd more want to let them see maybe Airbus, but then also see Wilkins Miller, and then maybe see SSAB, a large steel manufacturer, and Axis, and then an aerospace company, and then a business in the area. Like, let them see the different types of avenues that you can go from your major instead of just being the industry type.
I love that.
So it'll be really fun, and we want
encourage all your friends,
everybody to sign up. Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah, I've heard talk around it around campus with Logan. Logan Barrett. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So the buzz is happening.
Yeah.
Already.
Good. We hadn't even put out the application. So good.
Word of mouth is doing good.
Good.
Sure.
Good.
What are some common misconceptions that young professionals might have with Mobile or kind of relocating here?
I think a big misconception is that there's nothing to do around here. I would hear that all the time, and I'm like, just look at a community calendar. Just come downtown. There's something going on.
There is.
all the time. So I think that's a big misconception.
Yeah.
I agree.
I would definitely agree. Because I think people always say, there's nothing to do here. And then I'm like, I have had something to do every night this week. Literally every night.
We can walk down the street of downtown and never know where
you'll end up.
You guys are famous, so everyone knows you wants to hang out.
No. But I think I agree for sure is that people think there's nothing to do. That's probably the biggest one, I would say. Yeah. And then if you're talking about trying to get young professionals here, it's a lot of the boomerangs, like people who grew up in Mobile and then maybe went to Auburn or Alabama for college and then moved to Dallas or something after college. They're trying to relocate back because they miss their hometown. So it kind of depends on what type of young professional you're looking for. Because I would say since I moved here and I didn't have any family or friends, I only knew my boss when I started, legit. That's all I knew. That I've convinced a few other friends to move here, and they're from...
Yeah, she started a trend.
Well, you got to, but they're from Mississippi, and they're, like, their friends will say, why are you in Mobile? And it's just... We bring them for Mardi Gras. Or we bring them for a weekend.
That's a big
and they
draw.
get here and they're like, oh my gosh, like we didn't know there was all this to do. And
just the community aspect of Mobile.
You're like an hour from the beach and everybody's telling you, let's go do this together.
It's like, hey, hop on this golf cart. Let's go.
So I feel like the misconception is, they think there's nothing to do, but it's also just this vision or kind of lens that until they see it, they didn't even know. And so we're trying to showcase Mobile, do more to Mobile, and be on that digital front of let's talk about all the opportunities. Let's get people seeing what we have going on. So it's a lot of just like showing what people thought we didn't have, but we do.
And diving into the More to Mobile website. I love that website so much. She knows. But besides just finding jobs on there, we have a whole section dedicated to neighborhoods. So it's broken down by like, what kind of vibe do you want to live in? There's downtown, midtown. If you want more land, there's North Mobile, West Mobile. And it's broken down by that. And then you can click a Zillow link and another, I forget what other link
it does. It'll have houses to rent or to buy.
Yeah,
so like it just picks that location.
So if you want to live in Midtown, then you can click that button and it'll take you to all the houses that are available in Midtown. And then we also have an education section. Like if anyone moving here has kids, they can get an in-depth look at all the education opportunities that we have. And then also just the More to Explore section is all about everything that's going on around Mobile. So whether it's events, Mardi Gras,
day trips to the beaches,
we have a section.
Art Walk, my favorite, second Friday of every month. It's my favorite Friday, Art Walk Fridays.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll link more to mobile.al.
More to mobile, al.com.
al.com.
Gotta get
I'll
that
link
little
it
Alabama
in the
in there.
description.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But to Art Walk, it's
fun.
I've been maybe 5 times, and it's just memorable every time.
Yeah, they'll do the Christmas one next Friday.
Christmas Art Walk.
Christmas Art Walk.
Wow. Got to make it there.
Yeah.
Are there any emerging sectors or industries that you're trying to kind of funnel young people to?
Well, the good thing is all of them are growing, like all the sectors. I would say maritime right now is where we've seen the biggest growth, just with existing industries expanding. And that's such a niche job is anything in the maritime sector. So that's always going to keep growing, and we will constantly need people for that. Aerospace is growing in Mobile. Airbus announced their 3rd final assembly line last year. Technically last year, yeah. So that was 1,000 new jobs that they're creating. And by the end of 2025, it'll make us the 4th largest aerospace manufacturer in the world, which is insane to say.
That's so good for the city.
It is so good. I mean, we're competing with Toulouse and Hamburg in France and Hamburg in Germany, and then Seattle. But it's like Mobile, Alabama is competing with.
On the come up.
That's amazing. Like it just shows that we are competitive and we have an advantage here. And And obviously the Portamobile's growth is insane.
And we've got all the infrastructure with the port and the railroad system. You know, everything's ready for the growth.
Right. But I would say those are probably the three largest: is the maritime sector, aerospace,
Austin
and then
has announced a lot
supply
of
chain.
jobs.
Yeah.
Okay, my last question to kind of wrap it up is, we talked about young professionals, but what do you feel Mobile can provide someone later in their career, like in their 50s?
Well, the chamber.
I was going to say, do we do a chamber plug right now?
Yeah.
I mean, the chamber overall, I always encourage people, not just because it's my job, but because it's a great resource for the community. We offer help anywhere from small business to big business. So we have a dedicated small business department that helps people grow their business, have one-on-one counselors basically that help them. And then we also have networking opportunities. We do business after hours every quarter or so, and that's basically a big networking event. And we honestly have a networking event almost every week. We always have opportunities for people to grow their businesses with us. So the chamber is a great resource for that.
I also think it might depend on what kind of group you're looking for, because I also think Innovation Portal is a great resource that we have here. And so if you're a startup company or you're an entrepreneur wanting to kind of gain that knowledge, they're on St. Louis Street downtown, and that's a great space for any age. And then I would also say, if you're looking for professional development growth, Mobile United is another great program that encompasses Youth Mobile, Connect Mobile, which is for young professionals, and then Leadership Mobile. So if it is a 50-year-old moving here and they want that growth experience, that's about an 8-month program, though, isn't it?
It's longer. We both did Connect Mobile, and that was 6 months. But Leadership Mobile, I want to say it's almost a year.
I think it's either 8 to 12 months somewhere.
But I know they all get really close, and basically it's a leadership professional development program, and then they basically do kind of seminars, classes, learning different topics for the first half of the program. And then the second half of the program, they get broken up into different sections. So like there's a government one, an education section, just different subgroups. And each subgroup does a project based in, say, education or government affairs, or in that. Like my boss, she just did Leadership Mobile, and she was in the education section, and they did they created like an alumni platform for the Mobile County Public Schools. So it's basically you make a project that you can put out into the community to help the community.
That's terrific.
That's really
That's
cool.
terrific. Like a consulting project almost.
Yeah.
Well, that was all I had for you guys. Is there anything else you want to hit on or talk about?
I think we hit on everything.
I don't think so. If you think we're good.
I think we're great. And it's a treat to sit here more formally with y'all and hear about all the great things you guys have going on.
Well, thank you for having us.
Certainly.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ethan. Yeah.
Thanks.
I would like to personally thank everyone who tuned into this episode of the SHC Division of Business Podcast. Our aim is to give young professionals insight into their desired field or potential job of choice. If you gain anything from this, or have any compassion whatsoever, please share with someone you see fit.